And Sarah, I was struck by this story out of the Post-Millennial about the Washington Huskies women's soccer team, because this is one in a series of many stories over the years that we've seen where women's sports teams take on much younger boys and end up drawing or even losing. And it's often said, oh, well, maybe they just weren't trying very hard. It's a practice. It's just a scrimmage. They're not taking this that seriously. But
I don't think that's it.
It's not entire. No, that's not it. The actual fact of the matter is that men are different from women. Maybe this is news to maybe a couple people listening. I think most of our listeners know better. They understand that fact. But it's hard to really put it into... Sometimes it's hard to visualize because of the culture we live in, I think. Because we are just surrounded so much by not only media and media depictions of men and women interacting, but just by a world that tries so hard to ignore the differences between men and women, that focuses so much on egalitarianism. I think a word you used was almost androgyny, where we're interchangeable in so many things. The world is so focused on that. Western culture is so focused on that even those of us who understand, men and women are different. They have different callings. They have different things they're designed by God to be good at. Even those of us who understand that can forget it. And these stories can be striking to us. No soccer pun intended. They can be striking to us about just the actual physical difference. And it reminds me, I just saw a message, I think it was a tweet somewhere the other day about someone who said he's always struck when he goes to, he would bring his, he and his wife would go to the gym together or something like that. And the first time they ever went together, she was talking about how she really wanted to get up to 25 pounds on her dumbbell curls or something, and he was getting over an arm injury, and his base starting point was 35 pounds, and she was just kind of blown away that even injured and starting to recover, he was doing 35 while her goal was to get to 25. And
the gym is a horrible place for women, Jake. You don't understand. Do you have any idea how heavy that bar is when you're trying to push it off the chest? It doesn't have weights on it yet. Oh my gosh, that thing is so heavy.
No, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the point. You know what I mean? The differences are just huge, especially with upper body strength. I mean, but just in general. And that's the thing. These women who lost this soccer match. They weren't bad at soccer by female standards. That's the thing. Exactly. They were doing really well. They just won this Big Ten tournament championship. They were amazing women's soccer players, but they lost against this group of kids, these middle school boys. And that's not unexpected. We've seen it over and over again, and it looks humiliating. And there's a reason that we don't have these I forget what it's called, cross-sex sports, co-ed sports. Whether they compete against each other, because it's just stupid.
It doesn't make sense.
Because we have so many of these things. And one of the things that affects me or bothers me is the fact that in our media that's meant to, reach out to both sexes, you have these women who are beating up these different men. And you have women as not really superheroes per se. They're not supposed to have any special powers, but they just, have studied martial arts or something, and they're going through this crowd of men, and they punch the guy in the face, and then he basically just falls unconscious. And it's okay, stop. Just stop, because it actually has a consequence on women, especially younger, college age women, and how the situations that they put themselves in, and the situations that they don't realize how much danger they're in, because they don't realize the contrast between them and a man. I heard it said by a rape victim who said, you never know or you never understand how underpowered you are until you're trying to get a man off of you.
Yeah, well, gosh, that's a horrible thing to even think about. But that's part of the thing I've seen with the encouragement of self-defense courses and such, where you've got women in a very controlled environment in some kind of gym or other facility learning these martial arts moves. And the problem with media and even these people who should know better because they deal with martial arts issues, they're encouraging women to think, oh, all I have to know is a couple of spin moves and flips and something to be able to just disarm a guy or to flip him over or pin him or something. Yeah, exactly. But even just a matter of someone who understands, oh, well, I can't take on 10 random strangers the way that this action character can in a film. But as long as I take a self-defense course, then I can deal with any man who tries to accost me on the street. And no, you probably are, almost certainly are not going to be able to. Regardless of the skill, it's just a matter of mass and density and force and strength. These are very simple things that men just genetically are almost always superior to women in. And there are just so many studies out there far beyond these anecdotal accounts. The studies just line up. The results from these sports matchups line up, and it's very dangerous. Again, this is a disservice to women. It's not just a matter of, oh, well, we should, it's
not just not true.
We're disrespecting men by doing this. No, it actually has a cost to women by giving them this false sense of security.
I mean, I'm not opposed to self-defense courses for women existing because, if you can get any help that you can get is great, but you should know that you do have this disparity. It's why I'm, such a supporter. One of the reasons I'm such a supporter of gun rights, because you don't have, I mean, the one of the important parts of gun rights is the understanding of is the ability of the weak to protect themselves against a stronger force, whether it's multiple opponents or somebody who takes them off guard, whatever it happens to be. That's what it's about. It's an equalizer, right? So that you can not be made into a victim, whether you're a guy, whether you're a woman, it doesn't matter. But there is a chance that you will be a weaker or less able individual than your attacker. And it's not okay that simply because you are inherently weaker that you should therefore succumb to an aggressor unjustly, right? And one of the things that I was thinking about with regards to this is an extension of this same blurring of the lines between the sexes is why we're in this sort of unjust trans movement that we're in today that says, well, why can't we have men in the women's bathrooms? So, well, for the same reason that we actually separated those bathrooms to begin with, for the protection of women, because we recognize that women are inherently weaker than men. When you completely obfuscate the differences between them, you end up coming up with these ridiculous arguments like, well, they're basically the same, and therefore they should be in this private place, super vulnerable, with this person who's obviously making a perverted decision. Like, no, I don't think that's okay. Yeah,
even aside from those moral considerations of endorsing the perversion, the moral considerations of modesty. Even if you had a situation where, there certainly wouldn't be any immodesty going on. They just both have access endorsed access in this way. That alone is a problem because of exactly what we're describing here, of the ability of pretty much any man on average to overpower any woman. So it's harmful. This attitude of total egalitarianism of men and women being able to do exactly the same things no matter what. What it is it's this form of transgenderism. You're saying that these genders are interchangeable. And I think I've mentioned on the show before about my issues with women like Nancy Mace, who go on this crusade against men in women's bathrooms, but then turn right around and proudly post pictures of themselves in military uniform, graduating from, I was the first woman to graduate from this male-only academy for officers. It's like, okay, I would love to see you try and overpower a single one of your male classmates. I would like to see you try and carry one of them out of a burning building, Nancy Mace. I would love to see you try that. Then tell me that you are not falling for the exact same lies that these mentally ill men are when they're told they can go into a woman's restroom. I would love to see you try that. But again, we've endorsed the feminist ideal of women being able to do anything a man can do so deeply in our society that even those of us who understand on the surface the Catholic sense of men and women are different. Men and women are complementary, not interchangeable. Even those of us who understand that have a hard time sometimes wrapping our heads around just how physical that difference is and just how visceral that difference can be. And sadly, we see women suffer for it in many ways. It's not just men suffering from it because women are just being used as replacements for them and getting that kind of attention. It's women are suffering for this too. Women should, if they have just the sense of their own self-preservation, should be acknowledging this and accepting it and saying, I can't keep living my life this way because I may suffer truly horrible effects for it.
I was a tomboy very early on, as I know is shocking, and I was always wrestling with my brothers, so I think I became very quickly aware of the disparity between us. The moment that they reached puberty, certainly.
Yeah.
So suddenly it just was very unfair.
Yeah.
And they had to let me win. So,
Yes, exactly.
I recall, but not every girl grew up with brothers, and so they kind of understand men through the eyes of the media and entertainment, and it becomes just really harmful. And that we have people in our YouTube chat right now, Broski Bear, saying the bar weighs 45 pounds. So, yeah, exactly. It's super heavy at that particular angle. That's what I'm saying. It just sort of shakes, and I can't quite get it like even.
Broski Bear is confirming that that's for starting bicep curls. Yeah, 45 pounds.
That's not happening.
Anyway, so I think we've definitely made the point here is that this is a serious issue. This isn't just. I mean, I do find it funny when a team full of, especially when it's like the U.S. women's national team full of these feminist icons goes up against teen boys and they can't defeat them at soccer. I do find it funny, but there are serious consequences to this, and this is why we push back on it here on the show. That's why we try and help make people not only aware of it, a lot of people are aware of it, but really feel it and understand it so that they can start making these points to people. They can start hopefully pushing back. They can start understanding, well, we didn't get here for no reason. We didn't get to transgenderism for no reason. We got there because the envelope was pushed in other ways, like, again, these women bragging about graduating from male-only academies, and these women saying, no, I can do everything that a male firefighter can do. I can carry someone out of a burning building. Yes, exactly.
And that's the true Catholic perspective. Our sexes are complementary. We're both designed for different things, and we have to live in accordance with that. Otherwise, we all actually end up suffering.
Yes.
Because whether you're a man or a woman, if you're trapped in a burning building, you want the male firefighter to come and help. I mean, that's the reality.